business owners, my name is Dana Ball. I am a small business attorney here in the state of Utah. I just wanted to reach out and let you know that we are operating business as usual. So please feel free to keep calling us, and if you need our assistance, we are here for you. 2 years ago, we went remote. We stopped going to an actual office, and all of us work remotely from home. We meet over Zoom video. Once in a while, we do have to meet a client face-to-face, and we have an office to do that, but we operate remotely. So up to this point, until Friday, I wasn't really concerned about how this would affect us and how we operate with our clients. My biggest concern on Friday was what am I going to do with my children who are now not going to go to school? They will be doing school online. We are in Utah. The schools haven't, they are just moving school to be an online form instead of coming in, so it's not officially closed. But then over the weekend, I am so alarmed because most of my clients have less than 50 employees, and you truly are the example of a small business. And I am alarmed with what bill is sitting in the Senate right now that was passed through the House. And if that bill passes as is, I want to know how that is going to realistically impact your business and the preparations you make, and if you're going to survive. Can your business survive emergency paid leave? I want to talk about a few things that are jumping out to me. I will not get into a lot of the nitty-gritty about this bill. If you want a good summary, there is a good employment lawyer named Eric Meyer who has done a blog post called In Plain English. I'll put the link in the description. I encourage you to read that. That will help clarify some of the things that I bring up. So again, I am not bringing up specifics, just some things that are alarming to me. All right, the House passed this federal emergency leave, and it is attaching extended leave like FMLA typically does, and then paid sick leave. So we'll just call this, I'm calling it the COVID-19 Paid Leave Act, which they're not calling it that. But anyway, FMLA typically is for employers that have 50 or more employees. So typically, I am not working with clients who have to provide FMLA. And that's a relief to them because they run a small business. Now, this emergency paid leave affects every business who has less than 500 employees. So that's all of you that I'm working with. Here are a couple of the triggers. The employee has to have worked for you for at least 30 days. They get 12 weeks leave with a guaranteed return to their job unless you have less than 25 employees. They're giving you a little bit of an out if you have less than 25. You don't have to keep their job available to them. You are required to pay them 10 of the 12 weeks at 2/3 the rate that they're making. All right, the other side of this is emergency paid sick leave. And that is to all employees, whether they've only worked an hour or a day, doesn't matter. If they meet the requirements, they get 2 weeks paid sick leave. And if they are full-time, it's their full rate. If they're part-time, it's prorated to their part-time rate. Here are the crucial things. They get it if they have been diagnosed with coronavirus. If they need to go see a doctor, they have an appointment with the doctor to get diagnosed. They are complying with the government order to be quarantined. They are caring for a family member who's been diagnosed, or they're caring for a child whose school has closed. The government is promising a tax credit to you, the business owner, because you're going to have to incur additional payroll costs for this paid leave. All right, here are my concerns. The biggest overarching concern is your payroll costs. Oh my goodness, most of my clients that I talk to, they are, cash flow is up one day and down the next, up and down like a roller coaster. And frequently, business owners, you'll know what I'm talking about. You might have sleepless nights, not knowing for sure you're going to have the cash in the bank to cover the payroll this week. That's the reality. So now the reality is that you might have to incur additional payroll costs that you don't have the cash flow to do. So how are you going to pay for it? How would you pay for that next week if that is the case? Government says they're going to reimburse you with tax credits. What is not clear is, will that tax credit happen with your quarterly payroll taxes, or is it next year when you're filing your taxes for 2020, a year from now? It's not clear. It's not clear on what documentation you're going to have to submit to the IRS in order to get that tax credit. And if you don't do it right, you risk not getting the tax credit. So you don't want to mess up. So my question is, are they going to require that you have a doctor's note that gives you that your employee or their family member has actually been diagnosed? What is going to be the documentation you have to prove that that leave you paid meets the standard in order to get the tax credit? And then the other kicker is, in Utah, sure, our schools haven't, people are saying they've closed, but it's really not closed because the kids can do online school. So in Washington, the schools are closed. They can't even do online school. So covering leave for an employee who has to take care of their kids because the school has closed, what does closed really mean? There are a lot of questions that are not answered right now, and it could be very scary. And it is scary. And I don't know when the answers will come because it doesn't seem like the Senate is taking it up right today like we thought it would. So we've got some things to prepare for. The next thing is loss of employees at your workplace. How can you operate if you've got more than one employee who needs 12 weeks off? What if you, the business owner, get sick with the coronavirus? How can your business continue to operate? So that's another hit. Your decrease in revenues, maybe you're having that happen right now because you're a brick and mortar. You have a restaurant. People aren't coming in because of social distancing. Your revenues are being impacted anyway. And so tacking on additional payroll costs is just crazy to me. I think at this point in time, really, we will be lucky if the Senate decides to exempt any business with less than 50 employees. And I know that might sound harsh because on one hand, we want employees to feel like they can take the leave and they will be okay financially because they've got the coronavirus or they've got to take care of it with a family member. But on the other hand, maybe that business won't survive by paying that additional leave. Even though they're going to get credit, it's being realistic of how much money you have today to be able to cover it. So it's a balancing test on who is required to do it and who is not. So as a business owner, here is my question for you. However you want to reach out to me, I want to know, how will this impact you and your business? How are you preparing? Please put the comments below. Send me an email, hello@danaball.com. Find me on LinkedIn. However you want to do it, please let me know how this is going to impact you and your business. We are here for you to answer questions. Hopefully we will get answers from the Senate immediately in the next day or two is what we're hoping. I hope I can come back and say that there's good news. So let me know what you're thinking. Thank you so much for joining us, and I will see you next time.